Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. And today we continue our journey through one of the most important resources in Hero Wars, Alliance. Talismans. Today we return to the Progress faction. The engineers. The inventors. The creators of chaos. But before we begin today's discussion, we need to talk honestly about something. Lately, Astrid has almost completely disappeared from the meta. And truthfully, not only Astrid. Marksmen as a whole have slowly drifted away from what the current battlefield demands. Of course, every hero still has utility. Every hero still has moments where they shine. And every hero deserves respect. But sometimes the truth needs to be said. Marksmen probably need help. The game evolved. The meta evolved. And unfortunately, many marksmen simply did not evolve together with it. But that does not mean they have become useless. Far from it. Because today we are talking about a hero that still offers unique utility. A hero that can still surprise opponents. And a hero where choosing the correct talisman can drastically change outcomes. Today, we talk about Astrid. Before we begin, make sure to check our previous videos covering nature and honor faction talismans, as well as our previous talisman reviews from throughout the year. Now, let us continue our focus on progress. Because this series is all about understanding which talismans are better, which are situational, and which completely transform heroes. Talismans remain one of the strongest tools available to any player because unlike almost every other resource, talismans can be swapped. You cannot easily swap glyphs. You cannot easily swap skins. You cannot easily swap artifacts. But talismans. Talismans completely change how heroes perform from fight to fight. And sometimes, that difference determines victory. As always, we reference the fixed stat first, and the rerollable stat second. Now, let's begin. Astrid. Part tank. Part damage dealer. Part frontline disruption. And despite living inside a mage-dominated meta, Astrid still provides something unique. Her higher armor penetration and physical attack allow her to deal serious upfront pressure. But many players actually use Astrid because of Lucas. Lucas supports the frontline, absorbs damage, provides survivability, and perhaps most importantly, Astrid provides an extremely early armor weapon artifact buff. And here is something many players still forget. Astrid does not use energy to cast her ultimate. Which means, energy control simply does not work. A small detail. But sometimes small details win battles. Astrid currently has 2 talismans. First, the Talisman of Release. Originally available during Talisman Fever events, this talisman provides agility as the main stat, and armor penetration as the secondary stat. Immediately. This feels natural. Armor penetration allows Astrid to cut through many frontline heroes. And over 40,000 additional armor penetration is extremely significant. This talisman clearly focuses on damage output. Now let's look at the second option. The Talisman of Ordeals. Originally a VIP talisman. More expensive. Harder to obtain. And significantly rarer. This talisman changes things completely. Physical attack becomes the main stat. Critical hit chance becomes the secondary stat. Immediately, a different playstyle appears. You lose large amounts of armor penetration, but gain more physical attack, more crit potential, and access to completely different team combinations. So now we ask the important question: which one is better? As always, we evaluate two things. First, skill scaling. Second, the role of the hero. Looking at Astrid's abilities, very few skills actually scale significantly with physical attack, meaning stat scaling itself is not massively impactful. If we purely compare numbers, Talisman of Ordeals has a small advantage. Approximately 2,000 more physical attack. But numbers alone never tell the entire story. So let us examine Astrid's role. Astrid exists primarily to create damage. She exists to pressure opponents. She exists to punish mistakes. And for damage dealers. Both physical attack and armor penetration matter. Which immediately tells us something interesting. This is probably a situational hero. Facing teams without heavy frontline tanks, you may not need all that armor penetration. Talisman of Ordeals suddenly becomes attractive. Running Astrid together with heroes such as Julius, Hus, or Oya, now critical hit synergy becomes extremely interesting. Ordeals may suddenly outperform Release. However, against heavy frontline tanks, against defensive compositions, against armor stacking teams, Release becomes much more attractive. And this is what makes Astrid interesting. The talisman choice genuinely changes outcomes. Which means, you need to understand what battle you are entering before choosing. And that alone makes Astrid different from many heroes. There is also another factor worth discussing. Availability. The Talisman of Release can now appear inside Eternal Frontier for 700,000 coins. Meaning, it is obtainable, much easier to acquire, and much cheaper. Meanwhile, Ordeals remains significantly more limited. Which means practical value also matters. If you are building Astrid today, Release may simply be easier to justify. So Guardians, do you agree with our overview? Which talisman do you prefer? Astrid may no longer dominate the battlefield. Marksmen may currently struggle. But heroes like Astrid remind us of something important. Sometimes, the difference between weak and strong is simply understanding when to use them. Stay tuned for more progress heroes. Let us know which hero you want next. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.